What's happening, people? I hope you're all well. So, the opinion here is the opinion of a complete stranger online. Please be responsible when betting in the markets. Now, on 27th of April, Josh Taylor and Jack Catteral are going to be having their rematch. The last fight was a controversial win for Josh Taylor. Now, let's look at what could potentially happen in this fight here, because I believe that this fight here is potentially an opportunity for players, as in gamblers, to profit from the potential outcome. Now, if you look at their last fight, Josh Taylor went in as the overwhelming favourite. Josh Taylor was undisputed. Josh Taylor was looking brilliant. Josh Taylor was dispatching of top level opposition in decisive fashion for the most part. Whereas Jack Catterall looked extremely pedestrian at times. He was one of those fighters who didn't really do anything wrong, but maybe didn't do anything right to a large degree. However, he went in there and proved what I say on countless occasions. And what I say on countless occasions is sometimes it's the unspectacular, no frills fighter who can actually turn up and beat someone who has the X factor, because sometimes these guys are polished in so many different areas. They may not shine in particular any given area, but they're polished in every single area. Whereas the guys with the X factor, the punch power, the speed, the explosiveness, the defensive mastery, often they can be lacking in many different areas, but are compensating by being overly gifted in one area. And Jack Catterall went into that fight, and the styles meshed horribly for Josh Taylor. And that's why I think that this fight here has the potential for gamblers to profit, because Josh Taylor, despite looking awful in the first fight and despite losing his last fight, he comes in as the betting favorite. If I just get the odds up now. So if I get the odds up, and I can see Josh Taylor 7-4, and then you have Jack Catterall 7-5 against. So Josh Taylor is the narrow favorite going into this fight, despite looking horrible in his win in the last fight. Many thought that Josh Taylor actually lost that fight, and losing his last fight. Jack Catterall has, to be honest, gone on a similar run since losing to Josh Taylor. He's gone on a similar run doing what he normally does since losing to Josh Taylor. Many would say that he actually won that fight. Now, if we're looking at potential outcomes and possibilities, I'm looking at the fact that the styles mesh horribly. Josh Taylor could not connect cleanly on Jack Catterall. When I think back to their first fight, I can't think of a single occasion where Josh Taylor actually landed something telling on Jack Catterall. I can't remember it. If you guys remember it, then let me know. I think that Josh Taylor really struggled with Jack Catterall's ring generalship, pacing of a fight, and also the shoulder roll. I think he really struggled with the shoulder roll when Jack Catterall hid, he tucked in behind that shoulder. I think Josh Taylor is a guy who likes to physically dominate you. He likes to be in the ascendancy. And if you don't let him mentally get to you, if you decide my tactics, I'm going to take control of the fight's going to be fought at my tempo, my format, then I think that Josh Taylor loses his composure very quickly. I think Josh Taylor loses his composure very quickly when a fighter decides that they're going to fight their fight against Josh Taylor. And that's what happened in their first fight. Now, Josh Taylor, in my opinion, Josh Taylor does not look as good as he has in past times. He lost to Teofimo Lopez, obviously. And if I'm looking at his record here, if I go to Josh Taylor's record here, and I see, if I'm looking at his record, so against Teofimo Lopez, he didn't look good. Against Jack Catterall, he did not look good. But against Ramirez, he looked good. Against, obviously, that guy who he knocked out in the first round, Kong Song, he looked good. Against Prograis, he looked good. Against Baranchek, he looked good. Against Ryan Martin, he looked good. Against Postel, he looked good. So he's not looking how he used to look. And I don't and when you see Josh Taylor trying to make 140 these days, it's a struggle. So in my opinion, I believe that Josh Taylor, he struggles to make the weight, I believe. And I'm surprised it's happening at 140. Let me just make sure that this fight is happening at 140 just to make sure I got my facts right. So this fight here, if I have a look at the weights this is happening at, well, I believe it's happening at 140. I'm very, very certain that this is happening at 140. I'm just checking. BoxRec is not actually showing it, but I believe this is happening at 140. If I go into events, super lights are 140. So this fight is happening at 140. I can't believe that this is happening at 140, considering 2 years ago, Josh Taylor looked horrible making the weight. He's not going to look any better making the weight now. You couple that with the fact that he hasn't looked the same for a while. You couple that with the fact that he quite possibly is really coming off 2 losses. And you look at the fact that Jack Catteral is not showing any signs of decline. You look at the fact that the styles did not mesh last time. And in my opinion, you know, Josh Taylor, he's not going to have his southpaw advantage against Jack Catteral. So when I add all these up together, I come up with the conclusion that Jack Catteral, the betting underdog, is actually the most likely to win the fight. I think Jack Catteral is most likely to win this fight. I think Jack Catteral could win this fight by stoppage, but I also think Jack Catteral could win this fight on points. So this fight's not going to be in Scotland, so that may even sway in Jack Catterall's favour. So when I'm looking at potential outcomes, I'm looking outright Jack Catteral to win the fight. Now, this is a very, very risky strategy, because if Josh Taylor wins, you lose everything. But when I look at, sometimes you see something and you're very certain and you're feeling strong about something, this is what you have to do sometimes. So in my opinion, I would straight out go with Jack Catteral to win the fight outright, the betting underdog to win the fight outright. But remember, you need to be responsible, and if you need to keep in mind that if Josh Taylor wins the fight in any way, or it's a draw, then you lose everything. But looking at the factors that I outlined, I think that with the shoulder roll, with the styles meshing horribly, the fact that Josh Taylor looked horrible making the weight 2 years ago, he's not going to look better making the weight now. And I look at the trajectory of both fighters' careers. I look at how Josh Taylor's career has gone and how it's going. I look at how Jack Catteral seems to be going on a consistent trail, and I come up with the conclusion that the only sensible option in this circumstance is to go with Jack Catteral outright to win the fight. So let me know what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video, and I'll see you on the next video.